Hello everyone, and welcome back to Chatmates, Weekend Chatmates. And whoever joins on the first time, let me remind kindly that what is Chatmates? Chatmates is a free platform for free people who, with whom we share their incredible stories, incredible journeys, the stories which inspired us personally, and we are sure that they will inspire you.
Today we have our chat with an amazing guest, Dr. Natalia Wiechowski, who will share with us her journey about being a professional branding unicorn on LinkedIn and at the same time having an incredible personal story herself. So welcome again, Natalia, and thank you very much for your time. And we indeed appreciate the presence of yourself.
And yes, Natalia, thank you very quickly from my side as well. And I just want to tell to all our viewers that, 45 minutes is really short time to ask all the questions that we have for you. But anyway, we are really delighted meeting you. And before we start, you don't need too much introduction because we all know you, but maybe you can introduce yourself and then we can start with our questions.
Sure. So I usually introduce myself as a flawsome human being or as a flawsome edutainer, which means I'm full of and flaws, and nevertheless, I learned to love and accept myself. So this is the beauty of flawsomeness. And why human being? Because I have a huge ego. I mean, that's why I have a PhD, but I also learned how to deal with my ego and how to not obsess with titles. So the best way how to explain what I do is I teach people the art of self-marketing or personal branding, especially on a platform like LinkedIn. And I give my best to use stories and humor to make it interesting and engaging.
No, absolutely. Thanks. And I just want to quickly, before we start questions, want to tell you that, we are, let's say, following very actively your post and your content and your activities on, and to be honest, just very quickly wanted to underline that every weekend I have a personal plan to watch at least one of your videos, because it really inspires, and because you have so many videos, your YouTube channel is huge, I would say, and I have this kind of plan, and I'm really meeting my plan that having at least one video of yours per weekend, so it's really, thanks again for your time.
So let's kickstart the questions, otherwise Gigi will never stop here.
Yalla, as they say here, yalla.
Natalia, the first question which we start is how and when did you actually realize that personal branding, which in itself I would say is a very modern job description, is your specialty or your expertise?
That must have been somewhere at the age of 30, 31. So I quit my job in 2014. So I'm a studied social scientist. I have a PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. I worked in the educational field. I worked in the marketing field. And at the age of 29, I realized, what the am I doing with my life? So I quit my safe job, locked myself away for 9 months, and then went on a journey of discovering who I am and what I want to do. And in that process, I failed myself up to find a concept that allows me to do what I want to do. And it was very vague, but eventually people told me, oh, can you teach me this? And can you help me with that? And oh, you're so good in this. Until one day a woman actually came with a book in her hand saying, hey, can you read this book for me? That's what you do anyway. I'm too busy. Well, teach me that stuff. And I looked at the book and it said impression management, which is just another word for personal branding. And I had no clue. I was like, yeah, of course, that's what I do. Yeah, what's the deadline? And this is when personal branding found me.
Okay, that's
wow. That's
sum up, yeah.
Really interesting. And Natalia, what I wanted to ask is that, to find motivation these days, I think it's quite hard, and especially during these pandemic times, right? And the mental health and then so on, it's very important. And what we see, you are always very motivated and full of energy, with your posts, it's going to be like LinkedIn posts or video posts or anything. So just wanted to ask you, how do you how do you motivate yourself? And also, how do you manage really to motivate others, which you don't know? For example, we don't know each other. It's first time we are meeting, but to be honest, I'm really motivated by your content. And so how do you really manage it? What's the recipe there, if you can share?
I believe in what Mel Robbins says, and I quote here, motivation is garbage. And a lot of people would say when you need motivation, your is broken. So motivation for me is an outside factor. And it is a little bit as if I would get people excited. Wow, people are hyped and then I go away and everything, crashes down on the normal level. This is why that's not true. I had a phase in my life where I wanted to be a motivational speaker because I love to share my energy with people. But then I realized it's just a quick fix. I'm like sugar, amazing, sugar rush gone. So this is when I realized motivational coach, speaker, whatever is not my thing. I believe that we all need to figure out why we're here. And without going too much into depth and being too philosophical, I believe that we are all here for a reason. Some people call it your soul's journey. So people call it your vision or your purpose or your why. And when you do that, when you have a good reason for doing what you do, for getting out of bed, for pushing through the annoying, exhausting daily work and stupid people sometimes, like, when the reason is big enough, then it's like, come on, it's just like as if you would have this path and at the end there's mastery, there's greatness, there is your soul being fully able to express itself and maybe even feel a little bit more connected to source, God, whatever your purpose. That should motivate you enough. So find out why you're here and then create a vision, a goal that is so big enough that you don't need motivation, but the idea is so huge, it pulls you.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's a very different perspective of what I would say.
Absolutely.
In life. So that makes a lot of sense, actually. And you already stretched a little bit of where you came from or where you're coming from, where you are now. So doing a studies and a PhD, which I think you posted something last week or whenever about your PhD, which I would say a lot of PhD students can relate to this or this Odyssey in a certain way. Exactly. Get it done. So the question is there, how does a normal working day nowadays for you look like? Because again, personal branding is, I would say, one of the jobs which was popping up maybe 10 years ago, if I'm wrong, as a really professional job in itself. So how does one day in your life currently look like?
So I wake up around 6:30, and the first thing that I do is I either go to the beach and I swim a few rounds in the ocean, or I go for a walk, or I skip that because it's very hot at the moment in Dubai. And I either listen to an amazing podcast that talks about a topic that I want to learn more of, or I read a book that I always wanted to read. So that's the most important thing. Once I have that out of the way, then I quickly check in with my team and I ask them, hey, what is an issue? Where do you need my approval? Where is the process not really smooth? And then I work on something which is incredibly important to grow either as an individual or as a business. So what's the next thing that I can implement, decide on, whatever it is to make it happen. Then I work on social media. I answer my emails. I answer messages. Then I usually have a short lunch break and I eat something because I do intermittent fasting, so I don't eat breakfast. Okay. And after breakfast, usually my e-meetings and calls and sales calls and coaching and webinars and e-keynotes and masterclasses and whatnot start. I would say it really depends. I mean, I have days in which I literally have 4 calls. I have days in which I have 3 e-keynotes or webinars. I give my best to have maximum 2-3 calls and 1 keynote every day for 5 days per week. And then in the evening, I either do some high intensity interval training or I dance, I'll go for a walk, I'll cook some dinner and maybe listen to another podcast episode or watch a documentary.
Very well planned.
Wow.
I'm German.
I envy you a lot, Natalia, to be honest with you. I thank you for providing so much details, but I really envy because it's you are doing really what you love to do, and you are really following the idea what you mentioned. And we did some research about you. To be honest, it wasn't the FBI or something, but we did some research, and I am personally excited about, as I mentioned already, about your YouTube channel, but about your website and these things, not Think Natalia approach. And then we know, and Sven and myself, we of course know that it is an unicorn, but could you tell us, like, what do you think Natalia makes the unicorn? I mean, what's the special that you and your team are doing out there that make you guys a real unicorn?
Well, I give my best to reinvent myself and to stay interesting, because this is what I would expect from somebody that I see as a role model or source of inspiration. So I'm a big believer in the concept of lead by example. That's something that I learned from Robin Sharma. And when I heard that for the first time in 2014, it was as if he tattooed it onto my brain. So I always ask myself, what can I do today to become a little bit better, to help another person, to inspire? What can I do to come up with relevant content to help others? So the ability to reinvent ourselves, I think, is one big thing. The second thing is that I'm obsessed with creating content, and a lot of people, they hate creating content. For me, it's my passion and the reason why I actually do what I do. Yeah. So when it comes to that, I give my best to write or to speak from my soul, which is only possible because I did so much self-work, and I still work with various coaches and specialists, to not write so much because then I'll go viral and then I get the likes and then everybody's going to say I'm a genius. No, I'm writing because apparently there's something in me that wants to express itself. And well, if it makes one person think or smile or laugh, amazing, job done for today. So this is another reason. The third reason is that I actually live what I preach. And I have been through the majority of pain and insecurities that our clients and our community go through. It's not that I arrived on this planet and said, yeah, I know that that standing in front of a camera is the thing I always waited for. And speaking in full sentences, super easy without blushing or thinking, ah! So I know how it feels. And I, again, give my best to speak from experience, to share my own gaps and insecurities, to be more human, and through that inspire others or give other people permission to do the same.
Just a quick one. So you mentioned the reinvention. They are very important word, and I just remembered now from one of your videos you are saying very important words there. Nothing will change before you change. So I remember this and then I thought, wow, that's really important, because and then I tried it on myself, to be honest, and then it really works. Nothing will change before you change. Sven, you have next question?
Yeah, sure. I was just imagining, like, in which contents you might have asked yourself this question. So nowadays you will start also going to the beach every day in the morning, Gigi?
Of course I will. I will, at least I will give a shot,
Yeah, sure. I'm very curious where the next beach on where.
Yeah, that would be a problem. But
could be a lake, a river, could be a pool.
Absolutely.
But like you created your own brand and created, and at the end of the day, you created a business with personal branding and coaching and all of what you just said, the webinars, and so that you're on, I would say, one of the frontiers in LinkedIn, and really explore all the possibility and the option that LinkedIn will bring to a business content. So from that perspective, and we are not that far, like say, we are not at this frontier as you are. So the question from our side would be, what role do you think, like LinkedIn or any other social media kind which pops up in the next couple of years, or maybe is already there, will impact business, and how does it impact the business?
I have seen from a few studies that over 50% of the world's population is online, and almost all of them use social media. I mean, have a look at millennials, my generation, and even younger. We grew up with Google and Facebook and Instagram and whatnot. We're so much faster in finding information. Well, the question if the information is true or if we can structure it or digest it is a total different one. Let's not fall down that rabbit hole or go down that rabbit hole. We use technology in a different way. And I believe that nowadays, especially, hey, we live in what we have now, June 2021, everybody uses tools like LinkedIn or Zoom or Skype or whatnot to do business, to get to know people, to network, to meet customers, to look for a job, to look for employees, to meet new friends. So what do? We look specifically for people. We use these tools to achieve our goals. And besides that, people also use search engines, that once they know you, they use your name, they put it in there. And based on what they see, they build a first impression or opinion around you. And if you don't work on your personal brand, you will have an issue. So the ultimate goal is that when somebody takes your name and types it into DuckDuckGo or Google or Yahoo or Bing or whatever, that the first 10 entries are relevant to who you are and what you do and portray you in a positive, whatever that means, limelight, so that, again, you get the end result that you want. Because correcting the first negative impression is very difficult.
Yeah, and I have seen on your website some really good, let's say, words from different companies, from different company representatives about you and how they enjoyed having this personal branding project with you. And also we've seen that, you are customer, or they are customer of yours. Big companies like I think it was
SAP,
SAP,
Accenture,
SAP,
Bosch,
exactly. Yes,
the Boston
yes.
Consulting Group.
And I was thinking, I started thinking that these big companies, which they have quite strong customer base and quite, let's say, large customer, even they are started investing, not only thinking but investing in this thing. So that was really important. Just if I may link the question to this to this comment, was that what kind of effect of this your personal branding and personal development has on your personal life? How because it would be interesting for the viewers, like how do you find the balance between that, or is it easier to find the balance in this case, or would it be easier find balance if you would be in corporate, when you were in corporate before 2014, let's say? Was it easier now, or was it easier then? I mean, how it works in your case?
Well, I'm a person, when you look at the disc model, I'm pretty strong in D, and I have quite a bit of C as well. So I have a personal issue with working for people or with people who don't deliver results and who are not honest. That's just not aligned with my values. Or with unmotivated people, or with people who just don't care about the outcome, or don't care about the customers, or tell one thing and then deliver the other thing. So for me, working for somebody was always very difficult because I faced tremendous issues with my personal values and what I believe and what I stand for. So now having my own business, it's amazing because everything that I do, well, I stand for this. And if something is not how I want it, it's my mistake. So there's no boss I can blame or whatever. So for me, it makes the whole thing so much easier. And everybody who works in my team, we have similar values, and we make sure that we give our best when we communicate or when we solve the issues of our customers. Are we perfect? No. Will we ever be perfect? No. But we really care and we want to make a difference. And I would say that 99% of people out there really understand it and enjoy it.
Just very quick, Sven, sorry if I may, because one of your videos, and you already mentioned, you are mentioning that at some point, I think it was 2014, you made this decision. You went to sabbatical, and you wanted to start your own journey, and sorry for my French, but to do that you need to have some
Balls?
yes. And I mean,
Sentences now.
how do you? If I don't want to sound
Say it, just say
how
it.
do you do that? I mean, how do you make this decision? Because millions of people are thinking about this, and maybe at some point I am also thinking about this, but to really make this thing, I mean, how do you come up
How
with
do you
this
do it?
decision? Yeah, how do you do it?
Well, a sentence that really helped me understand the situation is from Tony Robbins. So I hope I
Yeah.
quote him correctly. He said that every kind of change is pain, and that we are human beings that are wired in a way to avoid pain. This is how our neurons, how the whole system works, avoid pain because you want to stay alive. So, okay, we know this. We know that change is pain. So he says that change only happens when the pain of staying the same is bigger than the pain of change. So for me, the pain of staying the same was bigger than the pain of change. Why? Because I had such severe pain. I literally ended up in hospital once or twice per month. And I took antibiotics, and the doctor said, "What are you doing? We don't know what it is. Yes, you have this thing, but we don't know where it comes from. I don't know, but it's not healthy. Stop doing it." So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm crawling literally on the floor. I can't keep my back straight because I have severe physical pain. Okay, what else? I realized that I was drinking way too much coffee with way too much sugar. I started my day with chocolate croissants. Sugar again. I was driving in my fancy sports car to work, almost getting speed fines every week because I felt something when I put my foot on the gas pedal, and I was just behaving like an idiot just to feel something, because emotionally on the inside, I felt so empty and so dead. And it was as if literally my soul was about to die. And I think back then it was my soul saying, "Hey, listen, I'm doing all of this because you are not following your path." And I think, yeah, at a certain stage, I realized, okay, yeah, you know what? I think this is the problem. I need to change. And what if I do what my soul wants me to do? I still don't understand, but I have a feeling all of this will go away. So, let's jump over that, because there was nothing else that could happen. I mean, the worst thing that could happen, car accident, cancer, or death. But I didn't want to,
One
force
of
it. I
them.
said, it's okay, I've suffered enough. Halas.
Wow.
That's very interesting. So my question is a little bit more in how did you really get started? So sabbatical is cool, and then you got approached from several of your friends, customer, whatever, to help them out and to, like, say, help them with the reading a book or understanding the content or helping them to understand more theory. But at a certain point, you have to create a living out of this. So how do you come from this, okay, I have something to do, to really being operational and create a revenue in a certain way? How did you manage that?
So in the beginning, for almost 9 months, I did not work because I had saved up enough money over my years I didn't know what for. I actually thought I might use it for a business school, do an MBA or whatever, but then obviously that never happened. So I used it for my sabbatical. So I had the luxury of being able to stay in my flat, not meet any people, don't have to work. So the only two things that I focused on was finishing my PhD thesis and getting my life back. Because again, I was an emotional, physical, spiritual mess. The first thing that I started is to get more structure into my life. So I, based on a recommendation of Robin Sharma, woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And the first thing that I did was I learned to meditate. Because I used to be a person who was always emotionally beating myself up for something that I did or did not in the past, or being totally scared and anxious about something that might or might not happen in the future. So I was continuously like this, restless. So I learned, and like this is year number 7, and I slowly but surely start to be better at it, at meditation, changed my life because I learned to temporarily turn this here off, this which was happening 24/7 before. So I turned my mind not into a friend, but I would say a frenemy. I now know how to talk with it. And I know that I'm not my thoughts, which is huge. In the past, I was sure that I am my thoughts. So I thought I'm like, you should put me into mental house. So this is one thing I worked on. I worked on my diet because I realized I was eating terribly. I worked on my words because I realized I was using victim language. Oh, I'm never. As a woman, I'm too young. I'm just da 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 da. So I learned about the art of NLP. I started reading up to 5 different books per week to get everything that I thought I knew out of my system. So I asked myself the question, what if everything that I ever learned was a lie or just an illusion? Painful. Oh, very painful. So, but again, it's a little bit like Alice falling down the rabbit hole, but I knew if I can just make it through the day and then through the next day and through the next day, after a year, I will have made it through 365 days. Wow, after 3 years, think about it, after 5 years, 10 years, and I knew, something in me knew it will get better. We're not here on this planet to suffer and to be miserable and to be sick. That was my core belief. Everything else, nah. But this was something that rang very deeply true in me. Cool. Once I figured all of this stuff out, I created a list with all of the things that I always wanted to do. It doesn't matter how embarrassing it was. Modeling, writing, being part of a magazine, being part of a cool agency, taking pictures, being an influencer, starting a blog, consulting, coaching, social media, speaking, comedy. I wanted to do all of these things, and step by step, I implemented them. I did all of them. And then I talked to friends. I reach out to people and say, hey, I need money. I can do all of this. If you hear about anything, let me do it. Sometimes I didn't get money, I just bartered. So if I help you with this, you help me with that. If I do this, da, da, da. And I did that for quite some time until eventually I could make money out of it. Or until I because again, I'm a little bit more structured by now. I created an Excel sheet with all of the different things that I did. And I asked myself, how much time do I need? Wow. Do I like it? Yes or no? How much money can I make with that? And then I swore to myself that I would just focus on 3. And I did that for half a year, 9 months, a year, and then figured out, okay, it's coaching, consulting, speaking, topic, personal branding, social media, and everything else, I just learned through applying it. So at a certain stage, I needed to leave my flat and go there and meet people and test it and fail and fail and fail. But this is the only way how you learn.
Oh, sure. This was I wanted to ask you about the fail and failure. I would listen to you hours and hours. We did not have this question in our list, but I have to ask you because you mentioned Tony Robbins, and I'm sure you know the guys like Les Armstrong and these inspirational guys who are talking a lot about failure and so on, how to deal with it and so on. But can we ask you, please, like, what do you think? How should we deal with the failure, and how did you dealt with it? Have you dealt with it failure? And what was your experience in this regard? If we can ask you, please.
So a few thoughts that helped me tremendously are, number one, failure just means you give up. Everything else is an opportunity to learn. I thought, okay, amazing, although it sounds a little bit cliche. And the second thing that helped me also massively was, if you don't fail or make mistakes at least a couple of times per week, you're not pushing hard enough. And I thought, so failure is part of growth. Failure is part of moving forward. And this is very uncomfortable in the beginning, and especially when you come from a cultural background where I come from, Germany, Hannover. The way how I've been raised, or the collective, as I perceive it, things is either you're perfect and it's 100% done, or you don't do it. Yeah. When I was in my sabbatical, I studied the the lives, the books, the videos, and whatever from a lot of North Americans, especially successful entrepreneurs, speakers, and whatever. And the culture of such people, or the thinking, the mindset is totally different. They go out there, test it, make the mistakes, apologize, but in the process learn and make money. And this is how they become successful. I mean, if they waited until it was perfect, they would have never get started. So I had to shift my whole perspective and mindset and cultural wiring around the concept of failure.
Wow, I can tell you, Natalia, I can tell you, this recording, your views will help a lot of people, but be sure it already helped one person, and it is me. Okay.
Yay, the time.
Already have a result.
Good, I like it.
Perfect. So Natalia, now we spoke a lot about where you come from, what you do, and what's in the future for you. So tell us a little bit of what your future plan is. I mean, you operate really nice company now. You have colleagues or employees, whatever you want to call them in this stage. So what is your plan for the future? What's your 5-year plan, if anybody would ask you?
Oh, I don't have a 5-year plan.
What's your 1-year plan? I don't know.
No, she has 4.5-year plan.
Yeah, she is like day by day.
I have a rough idea where I want to go to. And 1.5 years ago, I realized that I definitely want to be more creative, that there is an aspect of myself that I don't express enough. And I was still very scared to unleash that character or whatever it was. So what do we have now? June, end of June. By the beginning of this year, I worked with a beautiful coach, friend, and psychologist. And I said, listen, I have the feeling I need to go through a second huge, deep, major transformation. And I want you to help me with that. So the last 6 months, literally every Saturday, I was sitting there crying, working, discussing, testing, whatever, overcoming fears and childhood trauma and whatnot. And in the process, I know it sounds totally off, but I can't put it into better words. It is as if my soul finally decided to stay in my body, and it decided to express itself. I'm like, okay, good. So I want to talk more about my lessons learned in life, about being gentle to yourself, about work-life balance, although I think it's more a blend, about your connection to your inner wisdom, about how you think and talk to yourself. So everything related to self-development, self-worth, self-love, whatever, without being too spiritual and without being too cuckoo out there. And I want to use art, things like comedy, drawing, singing, dancing, and I don't know what else, to express that. And I started doing it, and again, it's not 100%, it doesn't have a shape yet. But the funny thing is that if I look at what kind of people connect with me on LinkedIn at the moment, it's bizarre. It is huge TV channels, it's film directors, it's photographers, it's storytellers, it's artists, it's singers. I'm like, this is a sign. So then I enjoy the ride and I give my best.
Sit down and enjoy the ride. Right?
Exactly.
Wow, it's exciting. Natalia, I just wanted to ask you if, because I opened your LinkedIn page and your Think Natalia page and your YouTube channel. If you could share this quickly with our viewers, just to show them how to build really and most efficient pages of personal branding. Is that okay with you if we can share
Sure, go ahead.
So just let me, and then I have very important question. I have very important question here. It's simple but important. Just let me share with sound. On your LinkedIn page, when we enter to your LinkedIn page, you have this kind of thing, you know, like your picture is doing like it's
showing a short video.
Yes, Gigi does not know the feature yet. He didn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah, look.
From the first moment, he was like, I want to do the same. I want to do the same.
This is exciting. I have never seen this before, to be honest. Can you share this secret or it's a secret?
It's not a secret. It is a feature that LinkedIn rolled out approximately 5-6 weeks ago. It's called Cover
Okay.
Story. So when you
Okay.
scroll down a little bit more in your profile, where you have in your profile, sorry, it would be in the dashboard. So when you look at the dashboard, there is a line which says content creator mode on or off. So you would have to go to your personal profile and then see if you have this feature. If not, LinkedIn will roll it out very soon. And as part of it is that you can have a 30 seconds pitch. You have these hashtags, talks about, you can see the amount of followers, and there are a few other small changes, that you have.
It's amazing. It's amazing, Natalia. I love you. You have about more than 100 followers. It's amazing. And then we deep dived your website, which we loved a lot, and so you
look so professional here. This is unbelievable. Like the consultant. It's like
but because she is the professional, that's why. So
yeah, but it's a complete different picture from a LinkedIn.
Some great companies here of being your customers. I mean, it's amazing, and some really good testimonies here from Bosch, for instance, which is one of my favorite company, to be honest. And I mean, it's amazing. I mean, if just for our viewers, if someone wants to build up a really cool website, just go to thinknatalia.com, and so you can be also booked as a speaker. This is really important, right? So this is
absolutely so I do speaking, coaching, consulting, whatever people want me to do.
Oh, this is amazing. And then last but not least, your YouTube channel. To be honest, this is something. The amount of videos here is countless, I would say. That's why I have this very realistic plan, just one video per weekend, and it's a lot of inspiration there. And then I could not find it now, but I also know that you have a book for LinkedIn. You've written a book about, it was how to use LinkedIn more efficiently or something like this, right, Natalia?
What is it called? It's called Personal Branding with LinkedIn. You can find it on Amazon. So it's called Personal Branding with LinkedIn. The Think Natalia method. This is how it looks like. It's available on Amazon.com. There is the English version for everybody who's like, nah, I'd rather want to have it in German. This is the German version. That was the first one.
Amazing. Okay, German for Sven, for me English. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. So can you kindly show us again your book just to because it was very quick.
This way and this way.
Personal branding with LinkedIn and with LinkedIn. So why I thank you so much. Why I wanted to underline this was that me, as I'm working in sales, and there are a lot of skeptic colleagues out there about LinkedIn, to be honest. And I have managed to really prospect some of the customers via LinkedIn. And as you said already, LinkedIn is really working, about you can use it for sales with a customer and meeting with the customer or connecting with the customer. And it really worked in my case. And to be honest, without any, bull, whatever, you had a crucial role in this, because I followed you a few years ago. And you really motivated me personally to really that LinkedIn is working, and then
it is.
It really brings some specific results, to be honest.
If you put in the work.
I'm talking too much, I know, but I would talk and talk, but so I have to be polite as well.
Then, do you have any further questions? What would you like to know from me?
No, I think from my side, it was really Guy recommended you to say that we should have a look at your profile, and I did. And the more I listened to your broadcast, to your ideas, and read about your stories, and the stories are really cheering up. Also with the odyssey of your PhD and so on, I can really somehow relate to this. It's amazing. And
Sven, you can be honest now. Sorry, I have to add. Sven told me that maybe you are inviting her because she's so beautiful only, but I said no. She's also inside. Very smart. So
it's beauty with brains. Very rare out there.
It happens.
Absolutely.
And it is really inspirational, not inspirational. It's very clear to listen to you, and you can express your thoughts clearly. You are straight-minded, so to say, or clear-minded, and this in itself is a joy. And that you can make really a living, and that you can impact and affect people And also, as you see, you can affect Gigi already a couple of times.
Absolutely.
In this respect, it's really good. And thank you very much for this, for your path, and that you are so open to like share it, because this was not all clear to me so far. So thank you very much in this respect.
And
No,
I
thanks.
have to
You're
add that I work in quite large corporation, and we have this LinkedIn ambassadors there, and I'm part of it, and they will be delighted sharing this let's say chat with you. And I know that so we have already seen you have some really large customers there like SAP, and so we want to make this message for the viewers that personal branding, it doesn't matter you are in B2B or B2C, it's important. And we will be keep in touch with you in the future if you don't mind, of course. And future will bring something even more, I'm sure.
For sure. Absolutely.
So what I wanted to, if you don't have any comments, or if you don't want to say something else, we want to thank you very much for your time again. We really appreciate it. And to our viewers, as amazing Natalia Wiechowski says, nothing will change before you change.
Exactly. And in this way, thank you very much, Natalia. And I hope you enjoy it's your second curve, or no, it's this third curve, the third S curve that you have now. So the first was like your PhD and your studies, then came the personal branding, and now comes the reinvention of Natalia yet again.
Yes. And I'm very sure that when I'll turn 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, you're going to see.
And when this pandemic ends, we will meet maybe even Dubai, or maybe somewhere in Europe, or Frankfurt, or Hanover. Who knows? So
Hanover, yeah. Sure. I think the world capital, Hanover.
Yeah, Hanover. Absolutely. Come on, if you don't know Hanover, you're
some of the exhibition. Attend some exhibition there, and we can. Yeah. Absolutely, Natalia. Amazing. Thank you so much, and we wish you the great rest of the day, great rest of the week, and we'll keep in touch and keep moving forward.
Likewise. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Bye.
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Ciao.